Hello, my name is Dr. Linda Gorman, and I'm a neuroscientist. A neuroscientist studies the brain. So I'm here today to talk to you about how you can help make your brain healthy. It's really easy and anyone can do it. This program is called Brain Health. It's spectacular. You feel spectacular when your brain is healthy. You can be a happy and healthy person by knowing more about your brain and how it works. Plus, to spell spectacular, you need an S, a P, an E, and a C. And to keep your brain healthy, you also need an S, a P, an E, and a C. The first thing that helps keep your brain stay healthy is loving yourself and loving others. Being social, that's the S. Being social means you love yourself and you're nice to yourself. It means you like and are nice to other people. The second thing that helps your brain stay healthy is taking care of your body. That's being physical. That's the P. Being physical means you move your body, you eat to give your body energy, and you sleep because sleeping lets your body rest. The third thing that helps your brain stay healthy is understanding how you feel, your emotions. That's the E. There are lots of emotions. Being happy, sad, surprised, disgusted, mad, these are just some emotions. These are all emotions that we can feel and experience. Understanding that we have emotions and how to control our emotions is very important to making your brain healthy. And the last thing that you can do to make your brain healthy is to think, and not just when you're in school. Cognition, that's the C, and that's a big word that means being able to think. Your brain is thinking all the time. So let's see how you can keep your brain healthy. As you get older, your world changes, both inside and outside of your body. Some people like when things change, others do not. Changes can be exciting, and they can also be scary. One of the things that we know is that when your brain is healthy, it makes it easier to handle all the changes that are going on in the world. This is the reason why this story, which is called Importance of Spectacular Brain Health in Adolescence, will help you during this time in your life. As a fifth grader, there are many changes that are going on in your world. You may be getting ready to go from elementary school to middle school. You may have more access to electronics like cell phones and tablets and computers. This means you have more access to the world and the world has more access to you. You may have more responsibilities like taking care of younger brothers and sisters or doing more chores. You may have more interests outside of home and school, like sports and music and art, which take up more of your time. This means you have to prioritize your time to make sure everything gets done. These are just some of the things that may be going on in the world around you. There are changes that are going on in your body as it grows, and these changes are happening both outside and inside of your body. As your body and your brain grow, they're also changing. You may find that things that you used to like broccoli, you may not like anymore. You may find that you're always hungry or that you're always tired. You may also find that your emotions are changing. Again, things that didn't used to bother you, like sharing toys with your brother. What the heck is happening? Just like your body grows as you get older, so does your brain. We've talked about how your brain is made up of lots of cells called neurons that are always talking to each other using chemicals. These chemicals are called neurotransmitters. One part of the brain, a tiny little area at the bottom of your brain, is called the hypothalamus. And this area of the brain is really starting to develop. This area of the brain releases special chemicals called hormones. And these chemicals are special because these chemicals are released into the blood. These hormones travel in the blood to different parts of your body. And they're the chemicals that are responsible for changing both your body and your brain. Because these hormones change your brain, and because your brain is responsible for all of the behaviors that you do, these hormones are also going to change your behaviors. The parts of the brain that these hormones are changing are the parts of the brain that are responsible for your social, for your physical, your emotional, and your cognitive health or your spec health. So this means that hormones are changing the social, physical, emotional, and cognitive behaviors that these brain areas control. You may be asking yourself, why the heck are these hormones doing all this to my brain? Well, the answer is that the hormones are changing your brain so that your behaviors can change. These changes in your brain and behaviors are getting you ready to be an adult. You're entering a stage in your life which is known as adolescence. And this is a time when you're changing from a child into an adult. And this is mainly due because of the hormones that are being released by your growing brain that are changing your brain. This phase will last through middle school, high school, and even into college. It could last into your mid to late 20s. Adolescence is scientifically defined as the time that hormones are playing a particularly big role in your brain and behaviors. Because this is a phase that lasts a while and changes your behaviors, sometimes dramatically, it's important to know how you can help your brain by taking care of your spec health. Understanding what these hormones are doing to the parts of the brain that are responsible for your spec health will help you to deal with these changes in behavior in a healthy way. If you understand why you're feeling and behaving the way you are, then you can come up with strategies to protect your spec health, which will help you to protect your brain. Another thing to consider when all these changes are going on in the world, both in and outside of your body, is that everyone is the same and different. Everyone obviously has a brain and a body, but we are all different too. The timing of when the hormones are going to be released from our brain to cause the changes in our bodies are different. The kinds of hormones that are being released by our brains are going to be different in different people. Plus, the amount of the hormones being released by our brain is also going to be different in different people. All these differences are going to cause differences in how the brain and the body and the behaviors change. Oh my, there's just so much going on. As the social parts of your brain are changed by hormones, your sense of who you are, which is your sense of self, and how you feel about yourself, which is your self-esteem, are constantly changing. So this is a time when you really need people around you who you trust and can talk to, your support system. But one of the things that happens during this time is that our friends become more important to us than people in our support system. This is a time when you need to understand that your self-esteem is not tied to how many friends you have or if other people like you or not. Your self-esteem is tied to how well you like yourself. As we'll see, because the hormones are changing the cognitive parts of your brain, we may not be making the right decision about who we choose as friends or the people we bring into our support system. We may be so obsessed with just having lots of friends and keeping our friends. That's a lot has to do with social media. We're not always making sure to choose friends that we can trust or that we even like. Social health is about liking yourself and feeling good about yourself. When you like yourself and feel good about yourself, then you're going to be making good decisions about what kind of friends you want to have. You want to have friends around you that you can trust, that won't make fun of you. So part of that and part of being a good friend is making sure you first like who you are so you have a good sense of self and that you feel good about who you are. You have good self-esteem. While these hormonal changes are going on and affecting our social behaviors, it's really important to talk to other people in your support system, like your parents or caregivers, your teachers, your coaches, your family, not just your friends. Remember, your friends are also experiencing changes in their brains due to their hormones, so they may not be making the best decisions. Taking care of your social health by reminding yourself of your self-worth. Continue to do the things that you like and that you're good at, whether it's inside or outside of the classroom. We all have talents, and using our abilities to help you feel good about yourself while your social environment is changing is a good thing. Helping others by sharing your talents is also a good thing because we know that helping others not only helps them, but it helps us to feel good about ourselves. It's important to realize that how we see our social environment may be colored by the hormones affecting our social brain areas. So keep reminding yourself about that and keep doing the things that you like to do and that make you feel good about yourself. Because your hormones are getting your brain ready to become an adult, both your brain and your body are working extra hard. This means that the hormones are going to have an effect on your physical health. This means you need more energy, which is why you may be hungry all the time. This may also be why you're craving certain foods. Remember, your brain knows what it needs, and if you listen to it, you can give your brain the energy and the nutrients that it needs. This is also a time when you need more sleep so your body and your brain can prepare for all of the changes caused by the hormones. Unfortunately, while you need more sleep during this time, there's a lot of other things that are going on that aren't allowing you to get the sleep that you need. We know that most middle schools still start earlier than elementary schools, although this is starting to change based on the scientific information. So for right now, you probably need to get up earlier in order to get to school on time. Plus, you also have more demands on your time, homework, chores, extracurricular activities. So in order to get all of this done, you end up staying up later. So while your body and your brain need sleep, we may not be getting enough of it. So may not be helping out our brain. This is also a time when your body is going through growth spurts. You're growing, so you may feel achy. This is why we call them growing pains. And if you combine your growing pains with the stress from all the changes in your social, emotional, and cognitive behaviors, then this is a time when you really need to be moving. Moving would help your growing pains and it would help with all of your other brain health issues. But unfortunately, this is a time when time is very limited and there are lots of demands on your time. So moving our body tends to become less of a priority. But this is a time that we need to make physical health a priority because you're constantly hungry and tired and achy and stressed. This is a time when you need to focus on your physical health. You need to eat right because remember what you learned about eating right. Now's the time when you need to give your body the energy and nutrients it needs. You need to make sleep a priority. Coming up with regular sleep habits will actually help you with all of the other hormonal changes in your body. Moving your body every day by doing something, whether it's taking walks, playing sports, exercising, will help to relieve your growing pains and your stress. Taking care of your physical health will help your brain throughout adolescence, and it will help you to develop good habits to carry throughout your entire life. Hormones are also affecting your emotional health. The changes that the hormones have on the emotional parts of your brain affect the way that you see the world. This has an effect on your motivation to do certain behaviors. Because the changes the hormones are making on your brain, this is a time when you don't always understand how you're feeling. Why do we feel sad when one of our friends decides to sit with someone else? Why do we get mad when we drop our books we're carrying? Why are we mean to our family members who we love? For some reason, hormones make us feel lots of negative emotions. Adolescence is also a time when you're not exhibiting good control of your emotions. You may not have had a temper tantrum since you were a toddler, but you find that certain things drive you crazy and you can't control your anger. An adolescent temper tantrum. For example, you have a classmate and they're clicking the top of their pen, and the sound is extremely annoying to you. And instead of just saying, "Excuse me, can you stop clicking your pen?" you shout at them from across the room, "Stop clicking that pen." Or something else happens, like when your friend sits with somebody else, or you drop your books, or someone wants to know how your day went. You don't know why, but you're suddenly filled with all negative emotions. You may be embarrassed or you may be sad, but to cover up how you're really feeling, you start ranting and raving and acting all mad. These are examples of not being in control of your emotions due to changes the hormones are making on your brain and your behaviors. While it's easy to just blame your hormones on your emotional outbursts, this will not help you or your emotional health. You need to help your brain. Don't blame your brain. There are lots of different ways to help your brain during these trying times. The first step is to be able to recognize how you're feeling about something may be different from how you would normally feel. Your hormonal brain, it tends to feel more negative emotions, not positive emotions. For an example, let's say that your teacher announces that recess will be held inside due to rainy weather. Well, normally you'd be disappointed, but you'd figure, okay, so I can't play basketball. Maybe I can just stay inside and play cards with my friends. But today, for some reason, this announcement makes you really, really angry because of your hormones. It's only sprinkling outside. You don't understand why your teacher won't let you go out. A little water never hurt anyone. You're so angry that you actually want to argue with the teacher to get her to take you to outside. Well, the next step to avoid an adolescent temper tantrum is to use a coping mechanism. Breathe in and out slowly, count to 10. Use whatever strategy works for you to help you deal with the fact that you're emotionally overreacting. You should also talk to people in your support system about the way you're feeling and how this is affecting your behaviors. They can maybe offer you some help about how to try to deal with the situations because they know you and you trust them. In some cases, you may need to get help from a professional, but that's okay. Emotional issues, especially during adolescence because of hormones, they can trigger a disorder that you can't handle all by yourself. You need to understand that emotionally you're overreacting and that you, along with help from others, you need to figure out what you can do to control your emotionally challenged brain and behaviors. Hormones can also affect your cognitive health. When it comes to your cognitive behaviors, hormones can cause you to think differently. The effects that hormones have on your brain may change your perspective or the way you see certain things, and they may change your decision-making skills. This change in perspective is caused by the hormones affecting how you think about people. You may be more attracted to people than you used to be, or it may affect the activities that you do. You may have been afraid to go on a roller coaster before, but now you love them. It can even affect the things that you eat. You may not have liked broccoli before, but now you love it. Due to the hormonal changes in your brain, your perspective isn't the only thing about your thinking that changes. Your decision-making ability may also change, and the change in your decision-making caused by hormones may cause you to engage in risky behaviors. So when you're trying to make a decision like, should you jump into the lake from high rocks? Or should you race cars in your neighborhood while you're on your bikes? Or should you attempt to do difficult tricks on your skateboard without a helmet to protect your brain? Or should you play ball near a busy street? You should know that engaging in risky behaviors is due in part to evolution. Adolescence is a time when humans, especially in the caveman days, used to go out into the world on their own. Being able to get food would often require taking risks, like hunting animals. If you didn't take the risk, you would starve and you wouldn't survive. While we're no longer in the caveman days, as an adolescent, our brains are not fully developed yet and they're under control of hormones. So we still take risks, like the caveman. We need to understand where the risk-taking behavior comes from, and we need to guard against it. While the risky behaviors that we take may not be life and death like the caveman, you still may ignore obligations that you used to always do so you can do other things. So even though you know that you're not supposed to play video games because you have chores to do, or you may be hyper-focused on your schoolwork. And while that doesn't sound like a bad thing, it's good for your cognitive health. But you obsess over your schoolwork and you don't pay attention to other aspects of your spec health. So these behaviors that you're showing, you're making bad choices. And we know that bad choices can affect your brain health in lots of different ways. One way to cope with hormonal changes in your cognitive behaviors is to understand that the way you think may be changing. Remember your perspective or how you see the world? That's changing. And your decision-making skills, those are also changing. This means that what you need to do is to stop and think before you decide on something. Remember that the way you're thinking may be changed due to your hormones. So your first thought or the decision that you make might not be the right one. You need to stop and think about what the outcome of your decision will be. Should you jump off the cliff just because your friend dared you to do it? You need to think about what the pros and cons will be. It could be fun jumping into the water off a cliff, but is the water deep enough? Can you swim? Are there rocks in the water? Well, this may seem like a lot to do to make a decision. You have to stop, you have to think, consider your pros and cons. It will actually help your brain to get used to this process, and this is a good way to make decisions. You can always double check yourself when you make a decision, or if you're uncertain about whether or not you're making a good decision, you can talk to the people in your support system, as these are the people who you know and trust and who know you. They may be in a good position to let you know if you're making a good choice. The more good choices you make, the easier and the more confident you'll be in making future decisions. Plus, the healthier your brain will become. Adolescence is a stage in your life that can be both exciting and scary at the same time. There will be lots of changes in the world around you and in the world inside your body. Your brain and your body are growing up, and the hormones that are being released will change your behaviors. Understanding how these changes in your brain and your body and behavior will affect your spec health will make the transition into becoming an adolescent a lot easier. Socially, you want to protect how you feel about yourself. If you like yourself and you're confident in your abilities, then others will like you too. Physically, you want to make sure that you're giving your body and your brain the energy and the nutrients, the sleep, and the physical activity that you need to be physically healthy. Emotionally, you need to be able to identify your emotions and continue to learn how to control your hormonally driven emotions. And cognitively, you want to realize that hormones can take the way that you think and change it. And this can cause you to act more impulsively, taking risks. You need to stop and think before you decide on anything. Take care of your brain as it's being changed by hormones, and you'll be healthier because of it. Thank you for letting me talk to you today about the importance of spectacular brain health in adolescence. I've enjoyed spending time with you today, talking about your brain, and I hope you've had some fun and learned something about your brain. Remember, adolescence is a stage in your life when both your body and your brain are growing and changing. Hormones are changing your brain and the way that you think. Hormones are affecting how you see things and the kinds of decisions you're making, and you're more prone to engage in risky behaviors. You need to understand that hormones are affecting your social, physical, and emotional and cognitive health. So before making decisions about what you should be doing, how you should be acting, how you should be behaving, you need to stop and think. Once you understand how your hormones are affecting how you think and feel, you can better control your behaviors, and that will make your brain healthy. And we all know that a healthy brain is spectacular. So thank you so much for all of your help. And remember, brain health, it's not just spectacular, it's fun too. As always, we'd like to thank the people from Johns Hopkins University, especially Dr. Ron Daniels, for helping us to help you understand the importance of spectacular brain health, especially in adolescence. Hormones are natural and they're changing your brain and your body, and they're allowing you to grow from a child into an adult. And the behaviors that you learn during adolescence, those are behaviors that can help you for your entire life. So remember, take care of your brain health.